Hey, what's up, movie fans? This is the Movie Fan Podcast, episode number 5. You're here with Britton Dowers and Richard McCaney. I know what the business is. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to try to keep this short, normally around 30 minutes or less. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man, obviously. Just had some news drop about Daniel Craig. Got a trailer to talk about. Movies is coming out next week. Valerian, A City of a Thousand Planets. A lot of stuff going on here. We'll go ahead and get this thing popping. Okay, Spider-Man. Real quick, for those of you who don't know, Spider-Man, about a kid who got bit by a spider. He's got superpowers, okay? He was on Civil War. This movie was good. I liked it. Britain, I had a really good time with this movie. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. And basically this movie picks up with Spider-Man after the events of Civil War, and he's kind of in the middle of waiting for, Happy or Iron Man or the Avengers to reach back out to him to do a big mission. And in the meantime, he's just busy being a high school student and fighting the local crime, like, car robbers and things like that. Britton, tell me what you thought about this movie.
I love this movie. It's one of the best superhero films. I think it would easily make it in my top 10, actually, overall of all time. I really, really enjoyed it. Can't wait to go out and see it again. The action is top notch. The high school coming of age story is nearly pitch perfect. They combine both of those genres almost dang near perfectly to have. And then Tom Holland was just the icing on the cake of how he's actually a believable high schooler, whereas Tobey Maguire, a little bit older, didn't really necessarily believe him as an high schooler, and then Andrew Garfield either. But I think both of those, they were good Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland is the perfect Spider-Man. He encompasses that persona so well of being just a nerdy kid, then just being an earnest superhero, and then also just those little quips that he delivers while Spider-Man it is just awesome. I love this movie. Can't recommend it enough. If people are kind of like, another Spider-Man film, give this a chance. I mean, it obviously a lot of people have given it a chance, but it's made $117 million this weekend. Yes. So obviously a lot of people have gone out and seen it, but if you're still hesitant, like, I don't want to go see another Spider-Man movie, give it a shot. It's well worth it.
Watch it. It's a good time at the movies. And not to mention, this bleeds right into the Marvel Universe. I mean, and it does a really good job of not focusing on the Marvel Universe and still focusing on Spider-Man, but bleeding it in very well. Now, one of the things I like most about this, and as far as the top 10, I'd have to really sit down and think about my top 10. As much fun as I had in it, I have to be honest, I might have overhyped this movie a little bit too much in my head because I expected a little bit more. Now, you mentioned the action, and I like the action, but there wasn't a scene in here that gave me like these goosebumps, like overexcited scene, like let's say from Civil War, like when I'd seen that, or scenes from Captain America Winter Soldier, or when I watched Wonder Woman. Like, there were scenes in that stick out very vividly in my head, which was just like, oh, wow, it was so awesome, gave me chills, got me really excited. I can't think of any off the top of my head that really did that for me in this movie. And I said this in my little review on Anchor earlier, which was I did have some problems with it. And there was one scene, without getting into too many details, where, look, Spider-Man is learning his skills. He's still learning his powers. And I love that. I love the fact that you got this 14-year-old boy who's out here trying to figure out how to fight crime. It's not like Batman. Like, man, Batman's the detective. He knows how to handle stuff. He knows how to deduce and figure out stuff. Spider-Man's out here making mistakes. And I really enjoyed that element of this film. However, I did expect Spider-Man to be a little bit more crisp or smooth with some of his moves as he was fighting. And, like, I got that some of the times, but then sometimes it was like, he should have been better at that scene. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because had I seen this movie first and realized, like, he's learning how to be Spider-Man. He's still not, like if he's running and jumping house or building a building and he's maybe slipping or tripping or tearing up stuff in the process, I understand that. But when I just saw him in Civil War, which takes place before this, he was magnificent. I mean, he's fighting Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, Falcon, and he's handling his business. Captain America, and he's real smooth the way he's moving around and fighting most of the time. And so when I saw him not as crisp in this, sometimes it kind of bothered me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really think about that. That's a good point.
Not that it was a huge problem.
No,
I was just
no,
he was like banging, tearing up property in one scene, and I was like,
I took that as but I took that as so he's out of his element in that scene. So he's
I can see that.
He's used to being in the city where has all these buildings that he can use his webbing to swing through and everything, and he's out in the burbs. There's nothing out there. You're right. So he's kind of just out of his element. So I kind of took that, and even at the airport, there was lots of stuff around that he could move around and fight and fight on, climb onto. But he wasn't as smooth in this as he was. I mean, it definitely showed him more as still learning to be a superhero. I like the scene on the truck. Not to get too many spoilers, but where they're one of the robbery scenes that the Vulture is going after stuff. I like
after the truck or before the truck. What do you mean? Like you mean actually on the truck?
On the truck, like that kind of that whole action sequence.
The whole scene, yeah.
I thought that was a good sequence. The ferry sequence that we see, I thought that was good. Really cool. I thought it was a really cool action sequence. But not. There wasn't. You're right. There wasn't anything that was just no blow away action sequence. I thought it was just good action. But there was nothing that was over the top. I mean, not even that Civil War is over the top, but there wasn't just this stamp. Well,
there was a level of excitement, right. like oh my goodness, like when Winter Soldier punched him and like he caught it. It was like, dude, to me that was just an awesome scene, and there wasn't a ton of that in this. I don't know what I would have needed. Maybe seeing something I haven't seen him do before. I don't know. There were some cool elements, and I want to talk about his suit and some of the things that went on with that, but then again, I don't. So that was awesome. I'll say that. So for those of you who've seen it, you kind of know what I'm talking about with that. Now, the other element, is this the best Spider-Man villain that we've seen on screen?
In Spider-Man movies?
In Spider-Man movies.
No, I'll still say Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 is better than
you liked him better? I tell you why.
If not better, at least they're equal. I haven't seen Spider-Man. I haven't watched Spider-Man 2 in a long time.
I'd have to go. That's what I was just about to say. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that again. I have no interest to go back and watch any of the other ones, but I would have to see it again for the villain aspect to see. And I'll tell you why I was a big fan of this villain is because of how natural and realistic in this world that it seemed. Like it was like you were on board. Like it was just, you picked up with him from the beginning basically and went all the way through. Natural progression. You understand like his motives, what he was doing. Like I was on board with what he was doing. Shoot, to be honest with you, they could have made a movie just following him around and like his kind of come up what he was doing. I'd have been intrigued. Micheal Keaton did a fantastic job, and it wasn't like a forced villain like you get in a lot of superhero movies when it's like, okay, Iron Man 1, we've got to get Obadiah in this suit. Guess what? I know how to operate this suit just as good as Tony Stark, even though he had to go through a bunch of experiments and tweaks to get it to work. It wasn't nothing like that because they had to fit it into the climax. It just seemed pretty natural. And I liked it. It was for this movie, it seemed realistic and a good villain for this Spider-Man who's still coming into his own to deal with.
Yeah. Now, next to Loki, I think he's the best Marvel cinematic villain, hands down, in a movie. I think you've got Loki, and then you've got Vulture. For me, for sure. He might even. Right. Well, I don't say that. I think he's close to Loki. Now, overall, I think out of all Marvel villains that are in this universe, I think Purple Man from Jessica Jones still.
Oh, if you're going all that route, Purple Man was legit.
Yeah.
Purple Man on the Netflix series was legit.
But in the movies, Vulture's there. Just like we said, he's developed. You understand where he's coming from. All he wants to do is help his family, make a buck to help his family. So, I mean, you understand where he's coming from. And everything he does is for his family. So you kind of get that understanding. Kind of like a Walter White from Breaking Bad. He was doing it for his family. So it's kind of an not really an anti. He's painted as clear as a villain, but he's got that little.
There's not like an evil drive. Right. Like I'm out here to cause mayhem or take over the world. I'm out here to get my little slice. That's why I say it was a good villain for this tone, which was, Spider-Man's focusing on these little neighborhood type deals, and this is not big enough for the Avengers to come deal with, but there's nobody else. Ain't no cop going to deal with Vulture.
Right.
Took Spider-Man. So there was a very good yin and yang. I enjoyed their battle. And you know what? That would have been one thing that could have gone over the top for me a little bit, is maybe a fight sequence between them. If he would have used his wings a little bit more in fighting him, like they could have done some awesome stuff with Spider-Man to give me that, oh, wow, I didn't know he could do that. Or that was a really awesome scene. And you know what? How many freaking superhero movies do we got anyway? Like how many Spider-Mans? Like there's only so much that they could have done. And I know they're saving. I know they're going to do some crazy stuff with Spider-Man later on because of what, they allow him to be able to do. I don't know how to say his suit. His suit's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I know there's some really awesome stuff they're going to be able to do with that I'm excited to see. I would have liked to see a little bit more in this one. But anyway, real quick then, and we'll move on to our next topic. Is this the best Spider-Man? Is the best, like this is a Spider-Man? And now I know there's a debate for this because some people are absolutely in love with the Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield doesn't come up as much. Like I was looking at comments and it looks like it's either Tobey Maguire, it may be Tom Holland. I'm going in the route of Tom Holland in this Spider-Man from beginning to end, enjoyable, complete film, everything in between. But an argument could be made that Tobey Maguire's was better, at least the first one.
So, movie-wise, if I'm ranking just like the movies,
okay.
I like I said, I haven't seen Spider-Man 2 in a while, but I love Spider-Man 2, and that one still might even be in my top 10. So I think it's on par for me with Spider-Man 2. I thought that was an excellent up until Dark Knight. I probably would have listed that as my favorite superhero.
Oh wow, that's really hopping. Those didn't even touch it for me.
Taking into account, nostalgia, the original Reeve Superman, that kind of stuff for just nostalgia, those might be ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that I thought that was a great representation of a superhero struggle because what he went through in that movie and the hero's journey in that film in Spider-Man 2 was really well done.
All right. So
that's my only hesitation with I'll let this marinate for a while, but it's on par with that as a complete film on that level because there is not much that I can complain about in Homecoming. There's things that I can nitpick. Right. I think some of the call outs they do were unnecessary. Like, okay, just let that sit. I don't need you to point that out. I got the joke. Don't point it out to me. You don't have to reveal that to me. Or there was one scene towards the end where, a villain says something and Spider-Man says something to the villain. And I'm like, okay, you didn't need to say that. That draw unnecessary attention to a potential plot hole. Don't say that.
Gotcha.
And then there was one emotional scene where I thought if they would have just left it alone and not said no speech, if there was just him looking at something and then doing the action, that would have been, I think that would have been better and more emotionally impactful if there was no speech in that scene whatsoever. I'm trying not to step around spoilers for that.
Right. Well, I'm curious what scene you're talking about.
It's close to the very end. It's one of the most emotionally impactful scenes of the movie where he has to do something to overcome. And there's a little voiceover narration and he says something to himself to get him over the edge. I got you.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
So that, I still thought that was a great moment in the movie. I still really love that moment in the movie, but I think if they would have not had the voiceover and they just would have had him say something else but than what he did.
Don't point out the obvious. Treat us like we're a little bit smarter and we can pick up on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that only happened a couple times in the film. I'm sure there's many Easter eggs because I'm not I haven't read very many of the actual I'm not an actual comic book fan. Yeah. I don't read much of the comics. I'm sure there's a bunch of Easter eggs that I didn't get at all.
Loaded. And I'm waiting for Nate he's watching it right now and he'll let me know because he's the comic book guy. He'll be like, oh, this. There'll be probably 1,000 things that was in it that was cool. So,
I mean, I caught the one with, I caught the Easter egg with what's his name? Donald Glover's character. There's a little Easter egg there that they mentioned. That's about one of the ones only ones I got.
Okay.
Probably. But like I said, those are extremely small, minor.
Yeah.
It's almost nearly perfect film for me overall. I mean, just how well that it showed, the teenage drama, and then merged with him being a superhero. I thought it played perfectly. I really did.
They did good, and it made you feel there were scenes that made you feel the struggle of a kid who wants to hang out with his friends, but he has a desire to fight crime.
Yep.
And you get that embodied pretty well. But that's enough talk about Spider-Man, because if we keep talking about it much longer, we're most definitely getting into spoilers. So we'll just leave it at that and move on to the next topic. And we're going to talk about a trailer. We'll switch gears completely and talk about Logan Lucky. I just saw the trailer for this literally before the show aired, and then I saw a small one the other day that kind of had me excited about it. Logan Lucky. It's about some West Virginia hicks. But the Logans, they're just tired of their bad luck and everything coming down on them. Apparently they have a curse about bad luck. Everything bad happens to them. And Channing Tatum decides enough is enough. And I guess that's his brother, is Adam Driver. It's got Adam Driver in it.
Yep.
And Daniel Craig is Adam Driver's brother, probably. And anyway, they decide they're going to rob the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And for like $14 million. The thing that got me excited about this was it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, which is the same guy who did Oceans 11, 12, and 13. And Oceans 11 is one of my favorite movies ever. I absolutely love and adore Ocean's 11 all the way through. I don't care how many times that I've seen it. And I like heist films. This has a good set of humor, and it's not that stupid slapstick, I fall downstairs and, crap my pants type of humor. It's a wittier, seems like more thought out humor, and that's the kind of stuff that I get down with. You saw the trailer, Britton. Are you as excited about this film as I am? I'm excited about it.
Oh, I'm way excited for this film. I love Steven Soderbergh films. I didn't necessarily care for Ocean's 12 and 13 as much. I mean, 11's nearly is a perfect film. And I love that movie. Just everything about it is awesome. Soderbergh's work, he said he was done directing films, so this is kind of his coming out of retirement party. So that's awesome. I mean, if you didn't catch his show on Cinemax called The Nick, oh man, that was a great television show. And it only went for 3 seasons or 2 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons.
Does it wrap up? I can't start a season that doesn't have a wrap up.
It kind of wraps up. But it's it has Clive Owen in it, set at the turn of the century, medical drama. Gruesome, brutal, and it has his Steven Soderbergh's flair for shooting because he shot all the episodes. So nice. It's a great series. I really enjoyed it. So this is right up my alley. I love Daniel Craig. Looks fantastic.
He does, man.
Oh my goodness!
The accents, because they're treating these guys like they're dumb. And look, guys, let me go ahead and tell you right now. But I live here in Charlotte, and even before here, I'm still from like a hick town, right? So this is like my world. Man, they're making these guys like way over exaggerate the country accent, and these guys are meant to be hicks. They got them hickish. But Daniel Craig, like you said, is great. I'm from Oklahoma, so perfectly flows right into some stereotypes that I'm well aware of. Even living in Missouri now, that's definitely falls right into some stereotypes they have there's a reason for there are some stereotypes. So that's I'm going to see it. And that might be one of the reasons why I'm excited because, I've been to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They filmed some of that here, obviously. I'm just all around. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be fun and a good little heist film that gets away from everything taking place in the city but not so, trailer parkish. Yeah. I don't know. Cause Charlotte, it's a big city, but it's not like a New York or anything. So I don't know. I'm pumped. It's not like when they go to Vegas and they're robbing, they got all this stuff. And it's not like Ocean's 11's crew where they're super sophisticated. They kind of like stumble their way through this heist is what it looks like. But at the same time, it looks like there's going to be some clever stuff that takes place here. So Logan Lucky, do you know when that drops? I didn't even check. Because I think it's coming out this year.
Yeah, it's September, I think.
So if y'all haven't checked that out, go check out Logan Lucky. That trailer out, it looks good. The cast, they got a really good cast. And speaking of Daniel Craig and Daniel Craig being awesome, we'll go ahead and drop this little bit of news. Britton just told me right before we aired, and that is that Daniel Craig has decided to join on for the next James Bond. So you saw this. Like, is there any more information you can tell other than the fact that he signed on for what, more than one or just the next one?
So yeah, he's still under contract for one more. So that was always the kind of thing where I think he still had a deal for one more. I think.
Oh, okay. I thought he was done, and like he wanted like a crazy amount of money.
I think he wanted still. I think he still was trying to negotiate to get more money out of it. I think there's a report from the Mirror, but if I click on, so I'm on the Daily Mail. Okay. If you click on the actual link for that, they're linking out to the actual article from the previous site, the Mirror. It doesn't go to anything, but it's according to the Mirror, Bond producer Barbara Broccoli is the thought to have secured the 49-year-old actor for the next 007 movie alongside singer Adele for another iconic theme tune. Okay. Paper reports that while it has taken some time, Barbara has managed to talk Craig round into filming as the famous spy once again, despite previously claiming he would not return on the role.
Okay. See, I knew he didn't want to come back. Didn't realize he was still on a contract to do one more. I knew he expressed how much he either hated the character or hated working with something. He was not happy with whatever he was tired of doing it. I'm not sure if that was
It was more that from everything I took, if you actually read, some of his comments and some of the stuff, a lot of it was blown out of proportion on the internet. Yeah. I think, he did say I'd rather slit my wrist than come back for a Bond film, but he had just got done filming Spectre, and it was more that, and he clarified those statements later. He's like, yeah, it was like running a marathon and asking a marathon runner, do you want to run a marathon again? And after a marathon, after I'm done running 26, no, I don't want to run a marathon again. Are you crazy? So that's more what he was saying. I don't want to do it right now. No.
That makes sense. I mean, like, it is a job, right? And he just got done working. Same thing. I've done really hard hikes. I like hiking and camping. I've done one that was 3 days, 30-something miles, 8,000 elevation gain all the way. By the time I was done with that, I was like, I don't want to hike again the rest of my life. I hate it. Yep. Obviously, that's not true. Love hiking. I can't wait to go back. So if that was the way it was said, I get it. But he is coming down for at least one more. Hopefully this next one will be really good. I mean, I haven't, you know how they're called hit or miss, depending on who you ask.
Yeah. And I like Spectre more than most people did. I thought it was still a good, decent. I didn't like the reveal in it and the twist that it took with Blofeld or. Yeah, I didn't like that necessarily, but I thought it was a solid kind of like an homage old school Bond film, kind of like back to the 50s with Connery Bond more than some of the other ones. So I kind of liked it for that aspect. But Casino Royale is one of the best Bond films ever, if not the best. So is Skyfall. I love both of those movies.
Skyfall was the one that's up there for me. Yeah. I love Skyfall. I don't know what it is about. I don't know if the villain. I really like the villain. There was just a lot about Skyfall that I enjoy. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember watching it thinking, man, this is just great, complete, good Bond film. So he's coming back. I'll be honest, I could have taken it or leaving it.
Yep.
If he's coming back, great. I'm excited. I like him as Bond as long as he keeps doing what he's been doing. They got a good script. I know he can produce a really good Bond film. So I'm fine with that. If he didn't want to come back and they got somebody else, I would have not have been like upset about it. Whoever they got probably would have been great.
Yep.
So that's that. He's coming back for Bond. Moving on. I want to talk about Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. And the City of 1,000 Planets, I think is what the name of it is. When I first saw this, I didn't know what to think. When I first saw the trailer for it, I didn't know what to think. I was like, well, that's interesting. It could be good. Don't know if it's my type of film or not. Like a little too out there. But then when I saw The Fifth Element, the guy who did The Fifth Element, I was like, I think I want to watch this because I like The Fifth Element a lot. Now, I don't know. Fifth Element I watched so long ago when I was a kid. And for those of you who know, man, your movie tastes change as you get older. You appreciate more of the art side of it and what's good and what's not good. And I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing or it was actually good. I just watched it when a kid. And I like The Fifth Element. I love The Fifth Element. I've seen it so many times before. I can't sit here and say this film is complete. It's great because it's corny, it's crazy, it's got a lot of mess in it. But I enjoy The Fifth Element a lot, and so it's possible that I will enjoy Valerian in The City of a Thousand Planets. What's your take on Valerian?
I've been intrigued about since I first seen the initial trailer. I'm like, I've been intrigued, especially since Luke, like you say, Luc Besson directed the Fifth Element. I think he initially directed the Fifth Element with this comic in mind, because this is based off an old like 60s or 50s comic, and I think he didn't have the rights for it when he made Fifth Element. And I think he based, from what I reading around a little bit, it sounds like he kind of based a bunch of Fifth Element stuff on this comic even back then. So I'm excited for it. I enjoy Fifth Element too. I don't know. There's some weird, way over the top stuff, but man, I could thoroughly enjoy it. Gary Oldman as the villain in that is fantastic. I really enjoy that movie. So for that fact, yeah, I'm kind of in it. They had in the theater when I went to see Spider-Man, they played the first 5 minutes of Valerian in the theater I was at. So
they played the first 5 minutes?
First 5 minutes, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about...
So it's kind of started off, not to get too much, they didn't really spoil anything, but it kind of gave like the prologue basically for the movie. And like, it starts out like they're on the International Space Station, and it the International Space Station slowly grows and grows and grows and grows into a city outside of Earth. And then we start meeting, so all the people of Earth slowly start sending people up to the space station, and it grows. And then we start getting aliens. And then like the introduction of aliens comes.
So that's where the 1,000 species come from. It's the city, because it's like a melting pot of the galaxy.
Yeah. And then so at the end of the little thing, or the little spot, the city was getting too big in Earth's atmosphere, so they push it away, and it goes like basically on a little mission, or on out into deep space to go meet more people. So it was a cool little. It definitely got me intrigued. I'm like, okay, I'm on board for it. I'm
so that's kind of that's the build up for it. And then of course the synopsis is like some kind of foe comes to attack this city, and they send these special agents, which is Dane DeHaan and I can't call the girl's name.
She's from.
I looked it up briefly, but anyway, they send 2 special agents to go and protect the city and also the world, because it's always the world, man, or the universe in this, not the world, in the universe, galaxy or whatever. So I'm down for the concept, down for the director. I don't mind like super sci-fi stuff as long as it's not crazy for crazy's sake and it all goes with the story. I'm probably definitely going to give it a shot. Haven't heard a lot of people. You said that the buzz initially is they've done early screenings already, which is normally a good sign that they're already screening it. No reviews have come out, but the buzz overall is genuinely positive. Is that correct?
That's what I've kind of heard around. I haven't seen any tweets or anything, but from a couple different sites, I've seen that the initial buzz for it is fairly positive from everything I'm hearing. So, that Dunkirk comes out the same weekend as that. I've got tickets for Friday night for Dunkirk and Sunday for Valerian to that weekend, so I'm going to go see both. Do
you think? I didn't realize they were coming out because I've seen something about maybe Dunkirk not opening up that high.
Yeah.
It's not predicted that high, but that kind of makes sense because that would split the audience a little bit, and like Valerian might appeal to more people if we just want to go for a movie experience versus more of a historic, war type film. So that makes more sense now. So man, we got some good stuff coming up, man, because that's July 21st. That's coming out. We've got War of the Planet of the Apes, which is coming out next weekend. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about the same type of hype around that, but that's probably just because Spider-Man just dropped and everybody's talking about that, and they're going to continue to talk about that. I hope that doesn't hurt the box office too much for War of Planet of the Apes, because War of the Planet of the Apes is probably going to be phenomenal. The last one was, every single one of them has been good, so I'm excited about that too. And that's coming up like I said, it's coming up weekend. Yeah,
everybody, all the buzz from that is great too. So there's a ton of reviews for that out already. I think it's at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
or 92. So it's come down a little bit. 61 reviews, fresh, 5 rotten, 0 rotten reviews for top critics. So I've heard a bunch of people say it's one of the best films of the year. So it's
really good,
and that it's nearly. I've heard a couple of people say it's not quite as good as the second one, but it's still amazing and better than the first. A lot of people say it's better than the second one that I've seen. So and say that it completes the trilogy. So the buzz for it's phenomenal.
It's different, but all of them are good, and that just depends on how you hold the other. Because that was my same sentiments on John Wick 1 versus 2. If somebody said they like John Wick 2 better, I was like, not going to argue. If they said they like 1 better, not going to argue, because for me, they're both tick for tack, and you can see how elements from each one might draw to somebody else. So I'm very excited to see War, Planet of the Apes. I can't wait for that, because I want a good movie. The last one set my emotions all over. There were moments where I was laughing, I was sad, I had chills, because I was like, yo, he's so buck. Like, there was just an array of emotions and thought that went into that had me all over the place. And so any movie that can invoke those type of emotions from me is good, and left me not knowing. Like, you didn't know exactly what was going to happen, or where, if somebody was going to live or die or not. So that was good, and I'm assuming this will be able to do the exact same thing. Let's see. Was there anything else we want to talk about? I guess not. We'll wrap up with kind of our little question here at the end, and that is superhero of the summer. I have a feeling I know which way you're going to go, which is what's better, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman, or Spider-Man Homecoming, because those are our summer superheroes this year. What's your pick?
So my top pick is going to be Spider-Man. I think it was the most complete film. Now, that's not to say that all three of them were really good movies. They're not bad. None of them are bad movies at all. So Wonder Woman would just come right in under it, because I think Wonder Woman's, except for the ending, the little CGI fest of the ending, and the villains being a little too weak, I thought Wonder Woman was fantastic. Great movie. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought there was too much going on, but still fun time. I can't wait to buy it, watch it again. So, I'm going to definitely, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as well. So they've all three been great this summer. Bring on Thor Ragnarok for November. Let's get the other one started off for the
And
fall.
what else we got? We got Justice League. Justice League. Are they pushing that or not?
No, it'll be December. I think it's going to hit its December date, I think.
Okay. I know they were doing a lot of reshoots with things was going on with that. For me, I think I'm going to have to go Wonder Woman. I think I might actually, and guys, for y'all don't know, I'm a Marvel fanboy. Like, I always gravitate towards Marvel films as far as what I like better, and a more fun time in the movies. But I might have to go Wonder Woman for this one. And I think it just comes down to, there were moments in it that just actually gave me chill. Like, I was anticipating something. Like, I was like, I couldn't wait to see what she could do or what was going to happen. And then you kind of had that scene in No Man's Land. It just gave me chills. Yeah. Like, I just couldn't wait for it, and I was excited. So that's that emotion thing I was talking about. But I agree with you as far as a completeness of the film. Yeah, I could see where Spider-Man would take it on that. But as far as me just sitting back and enjoying, and something that I almost couldn't wait to go back and watch again, Wonder Woman did it for me this summer. Guardians had a good time with Guardians. I don't really have complaints about Guardians. It's not as good as the first. There's not even a debate for me on that. Yeah. Like, if somebody says, I like number 2 way better, I'm like, did you really? Did you? You want to go back and try that again? But with Wonder Woman, I was blown away. I was shocked. I had doubts kind of going in. I wasn't sure I was going to do. And that one did it for me. And then Spider-Man Homecoming right under it, because it was good. But like I said, it lacked that one element that I was looking for. So anyway, guys, that's our breakdown. That's the Movie Fan Podcast, episode 5. For those of you listening on Anchor, hey man, like the station, heart the station, call in. Let us know what you think about any of these topics that we talked about. And we're going to put this down on Facebook. It's on Facebook now. We're going to put it on YouTube. It's going to be an Apple Podcast. So, hey, just get back with us. This is episode 5. So if you're on Anchor and you're wanting to see or watch any of the other ones, I guess listen to, not see. If you want to listen to the other ones, they're on our Facebook. They're kind of, I guess you can call them archives, when we was just trying to figure out how we was going to do this, and our first 5 episodes. They're on Facebook on our page. That's at facebook.com/Comfire Crew. So you can go there and check that out. But from here on out on Anchor, we're just pretty much going to start at 5, and this is going to be supposed to be bi-weekly, but we got so many good movies coming out. We're going to shoot again next weekend. And we'll just kind of go. It'll either be every weekend or bi-weekly. So we're going to be doing this again on Sunday for that podcast to go live. Let us know what you think, man. Comment, call in, whatever. Britton, if you're on Anchor, Britton, plug your Anchor station real quick because you have an Anchor station that's pretty good.
Yep. My Anchor station's movie reviews and news. Okay,
is that the handle? So it's anchor.fm/.
Movie reviews and news. Yep.
Okay, and go check Britton out on there. I'm sure he'll call into my station if you see it on here, and check that out. But anyway, guys, thanks. That's what we got for today. Good time to be a movie fan. Lots of good stuff happening and coming on out in the future. But until next time, guys, we're out.